What a team. I am so excited about putting forward this incredible team of Canadians who will continue the hard work of stepping up to support people, to create great jobs, to grow the economy in ways that works for everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, the pleb is back. In today's report, well, we could be finally seeing the final days of Justin Trudeau as the Liberal Party members are secretly organizing to have Trudeau ousted. You won't want to miss tonight's story. Stick around. Well, folks, today's story is going to be a feel-good one here because Justin Trudeau appears to be on his last legs here in Canada, with his own Liberal Party secretly planning a coup behind his back. And if you look at the numbers, you'll understand why the panic is setting in for the Liberals. The Conservatives are now projected to win 242 seats. I believe that's like 13 seats away from the biggest supermajority a Conservative government has ever gotten. Yes, that's how bad it is for the left. And when you start looking at the actual map and you look at what Toronto, zoom in here. Look what Toronto looks like. It's almost all blue. Now zoom in over to Vancouver. It's also turning all blue. So of course the left are in an absolute panic mode, seeing the painting on their wall that they're about to get absolutely trounced. And as someone who has covered Trudeau's political downfall here for almost the last 2 years, I cannot emphasize how satisfied I am to present today's news. Canada's state broadcaster CBC News, fake news, are now reporting that some Liberal MPs are mounting a new effort to oust Justin Trudeau. MPs were pulled into meetings across Parliament Hill this week to sign a pledge demanding change at the top. And the rumor is that it's almost 30 MPs who signed this secret letter. And for those of you who want a more detailed breakdown as to what's going on here with Trudeau's ousting, well, I'll leave it to Vasi Capellos, Canada's best journalist in my opinion, to explain what's happening.
We begin with some developing news tonight over questions about the Prime Minister's leadership from within his own party. Justin Trudeau is on his way home following a summit in Southeast Asia. Let's bring in CTV's chief political correspondent, Vasi Capellos. Vasi, what have you learned?
Hi, Heather. Well, those questions have certainly been raised behind closed doors for MPs, Liberal MPs, for months now, in particular following so many months of sustained lower polling compared to the Tories, as well as lots of by-election, well, 2 very significant by-election losses. What's different here is the fact that there's going to be something formal ahead. And there are a number of MPs. The meeting started last week in caucus when the Prime Minister was not in attendance. He usually is. Those MPs tell me that there was almost like a breakaway group. Some of them called it a secret caucus after, in which they voiced their frustrations to each other and decided they needed to do something. Some of those MPs decided that they would speak directly to the Prime Minister. That has not happened yet. And other MPs decided that they would make a formal ask, a public formal ask of the Prime Minister. There are as many, some MPs tell me, as 30 MPs who will sign their name to such a letter, but none of them really wanted to go on the record confirming that they would be among them. Only 3 actually said that they shared that viewpoint. 6 of them said that they hadn't even seen that. A dozen said they knew of the letter circulating but hadn't yet signed it themselves. Certainly a lot of them are considering doing that, which is something, right?
Damn, so it's 30 MPs so far and many more are considering signing this letter. I wonder what do you guys think? How long is this list going to be by the time this goes out? Are we going to hit over 100 MPs signing this? Let me know in the comments.
Amazing thing about the downfall of the Liberals right now has been, over the last number of months, that caucus didn't do something like this, right? That there was no public effort, that they remained as disciplined as they have. Well, things are really fraying, and I think this is emblematic of that. The Prime Minister just touched down on his way back from that summit that you mentioned, and he did not comment, but his trade minister did, saying that she was surprised by this news. They certainly did not know about it until they landed, but the Prime Minister, she says, Mary Ng says, still continues to have her continued faith. Heather?
All right, certainly a
So it's all the backbenchers, I'm assuming, that are talking shit right now and signing this letter. But the cabinet ministers, I don't think so. No way.
developing story here. Vashi Capello's joining us this evening. Vashi, thank you.
So it all seems to be coming crashing down for the fancy socks dictator named Justin Trudeau. And the funny thing is that the Liberals cannot remove him from actual power, because when he became leader, they removed this ability. Look at this. According to Jacob here, one of my followers on X, saying, as much as he'd like it to happen, he can't be removed even with that paper from his MPs. He can reject it. The Liberal Party removed their rights to remove a leader when he was elected. Damn, they turned the Liberal Party into a dictatorship when Trudeau took power. Wow. The only way they could remove him is by an election. Then once he's gone, they can go ahead and change the rules. I wonder if they're going to change that back after the Trudeau reign. I don't know why they'd never keep it to where they can remove the leader. I think Trudeau did that to himself because he knew he'd be removed at some point. Sounds to me like some Fidel Castro style moves. So yes, in all likeliness, Trudeau is going to probably reject that letter. But I'm going to explain to you what's going to happen next week when Parliament resumes, because things are about to get crazy. According to this user, Mark Toey, who really understands the mechanics of Parliament, is predicting that Trudeau is going to prorogue Parliament next week. And for those of you who don't know what proroguing is, like I did before I read this thread, well, I'm going to explain to you what's going to happen here. What is prorogation? PM calls on the Governor General to ask the current session of Parliament be ended so he can introduce a new speech from the throne in a new session to deal with new priorities. Okay, this is similar to ending Parliament to call for an election, but there's no election call. It's just a reset. Parliamentary business committees, legislation, etc. ceases, and most importantly, the doors to the House of Commons are closed. Wow, they're going to close down the House of Commons. As a result, opposition parties cannot pass a non-confidence motion that would bring down the government. They can't even enter the House. It's closed for business. Now I'm seeing it. He prorogues Parliament. He cannot get a non-confidence vote called. Okay. Why is that important? If the Prime Minister resigned tonight, the opposition would immediately maneuver to call a non-confidence vote and trigger an election. In disarray and leaderless, the Liberals would be ill-prepared to win a campaign. Yeah. Strategy prorogation takes that tool away from the opposition. With the House prorogued, Trudeau can resign and the Liberals will have time to select a new leader from the obvious candidates, develop a campaign platform they hope will win back voters, and then either ask the Governor General themselves for an election to seek a new mandate from voters for their new plan, or open a new session of Parliament with a throne speech outlining their delicious campaign promises on primetime television. The opposition votes it down. Election is triggered. Last comment from the thread. Either way, the Liberals need the time. Prorogation is the only Hail Mary option. They will use it. 4, wild card. Unless they want to fail faster, bring down Rune now would give Dark Horse would-be leaders more time to organize a party takeover and a complete rebuild. So yes, folks, it's all crumbling right now for Justin Trudeau. We could very well be witnessing the final days of Trudeau as our Prime Minister. But while Trudeau is sinking, Pierre Poilievre just continues getting more and more popular, especially with the Indian community here in Toronto.
So if you're voting for anybody else, you're sleeping. Wake up Canada, and vote for Pierre Poilievre and Bob Dessange Singh.
Bring it home. Thank you. Bring it home.
Nice. Why do people not know how to say Pierre's name? For the record, I'm not hating. I'm from French Canada, so I can pronounce it. It's Pierre Poilievre, not Poilievre or whatever you guys say, but...
So if you're voting for anybody else, you're sleeping.
Wake up. Yes.
Wake up Canada, and vote for Pierre Poilievre and Bob Dessange Singh.
Nice. So yes, guys, it's Pierre Poilievre, not Pierre Poilievre, but I definitely love this energy. If you're voting for anyone else, you are sleeping. We gotta vote for Pierre Poilievre. I like this guy. And I gotta say, one thing we are known here for Canada is that we have a lot of Indians here. And with the Indian community supporting Pierre Poilievre, well, if you do the math, a supermajority is inevitable. And that wasn't Pierre's only win this week. He also appeared on television and absolutely went viral for this clip where he outlines his plan of jail and not bail and how Canadians are going to be safer under him.
Do you think that people take the charges seriously enough? Because in talking with the police locally, they say, you know, these are extensive investigations.
Oh, I love that. What is it? He's like, psh, psh.
In talking with the police locally, they say, you know, these are extensive investigations they have to roll out.
I don't think any criminals take any charges seriously after 9 years of Trudeau and the NDP Liberals. They know that even if they're caught, they'll be released on bail within minutes. We saw the guy who shot the police officer last week. He was out on bail after violating his probation orders 24 times. So, you know, the Trudeau catch and release criminal justice system signals to criminals, you can do whatever you want. You can terrorize, you can attack, you can kill, you can rape, and you will be out on bail within minutes to do it all over again. We need to get rid of that catch and release, bring in jail, not bail, mandatory prison sentences to lock up the criminals and stop the crime.
On bail reform, and we know that our Premier, Doug Ford, talked about this last week too, because he's frustrated knowing that the man who's accused of shooting this Toronto police officer had quite a rap sheet, right? So he's saying something needs to be done at the federal level. The Justice Minister saying, well, it's a provincial matter. It seems like there's a lot of back and forth here. No. How do you get involved in this? How do you change maybe the directive, if that is something that you would like to see change? You just have to repeal Justin Trudeau's bail law. It's C-75. We didn't have these problems before Trudeau. He brought in C-75, which brings in an automatic release on bail for, it's called the principle of restraint. The judges are forced to give the maximum leniency to the newly arrested criminal. And so after 9 years of Trudeau, we have a situation where in Vancouver, the same 40 offenders were arrested 6,000 times in 1 year. 150 arrests per offender per year. That's crazy. I would bring in a law that says if you have a long rap sheet, you will be ineligible for bail, parole, house arrest, or probation. It will be jail, not bail, jail, not bail, when Pierre Poilievre and the common sense Conservatives are in office. We know this is a huge deal, too. I mean, we hear it from people every single day.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I want to live in a Canada where criminals don't enjoy being here. The Trudeau's version of Canada is criminal friendly, and this is why our society is crumbling. All thanks to wokeness. And if I could actually pinpoint any moment in Canadian history where wokeness really started to destroy us was when they fired Don Cherry for these comments, which ended up being completely true.
Talking to a veteran, I said, I'm not going to run the poppy thing anymore because what's the sense? I live in Mississauga. Nobody wears, very few people wear a poppy. Downtown Toronto, forget it, downtown Toronto, nobody wears a poppy. And I'm not going to, he says, wait a minute. How about running it for the people that buy them? Now, you go to the small cities, and you know those, the rows on rows, you people love, they come here, whatever it is, you love our way of life, you love our milk and honey. At least you could pay a couple of bucks for poppies or something like that. These guys pay for your way of life that you enjoy in Canada. These guys paid the biggest price. Anyhow, I'm going to run it again for you great people and good Canadians that bought a poppy. I'm still going to run it anyhow. Love you for it.
And only 5 years later, after getting fired for saying that, Don Cherry is being proved right, as now these Hamas psychopaths are burning our flags and chanting death to Canada in our street. So yes, now as we see these Palestine protesters burning our flag and chanting death to Canada, alongside the woke lunatics in this country, I think Don Cherry's take actually aged very well. I don't know about you guys, but I want my country back. I want Don Cherry's Canada. I don't want the Ron McLean Weasel Trudeau Canada. Bring my country back. And this account on X definitely nails my sentiment when he says that a piece of the real Canada died when Don Cherry was fired. He's 100% right. Look, if we don't get rid of wokeness, we are absolutely doomed. It's dividing us. It's destroying us. It's separating us by race, culture, religion, sexuality, age. We don't need to be divided right now. We need to come together. And in our last clip of the night, I'm just going to show you what a cancer wokeness truly is. Because if you look at this clip here from Dragon's Den, which is like a knockoff of that Mark Cuban show on NBC, watch this actor, Simu Liu, super woke, turn down a product because it doesn't virtue signal enough. Watch this. Insane.
I am studying your can, and I am looking for anything that tells me where boba came from. And where boba came from is Taiwan. You know, I started this venture company for a lot of reasons, but really primarily to uplift minority entrepreneurs. And not only do I feel like this is not happening here, but that I would be uplifting a business that is profiting off of something that feels so dear to my cultural heritage.
This guy's such a clown. He is such a clown.
I want to be a part of bringing boba to the masses, but not like this. So for that reason, I'm out.
Thanks.
Respect that.
Respect that.
It makes me sad how successful this business is.
It makes me sad how successful this business is. Oh God.
It makes me sad that.
So he doesn't want to invest in a successful business that's going to give him a good return on his investment because it's not woke enough? Really? You're going to throw money out the window because it's not virtue signaling enough. Clown.
That people are, you know, they're drinking boba with the raccoon with the sun. And
he's offended at this with the raccoon and the sunglasses. What do you want on there? It's like a Bruce Lee or something. What do you want?
Raccoon with the sun.
It doesn't mean that they don't have the opportunity to change and do that.
That's true, but there has to be a willingness, and I have to be able to invest in these founders knowing that, that change is possible.
Change is possible. This guy, I hate this guy.
Say no. The collaboration that they've had to this point is with their supplier in Taiwan. And if nobody else has told them that before, you can't put that all on them.
So it was the supplier from Taiwan who gave them the design. It came straight from Taiwan, but woke loser over here is offended that the product produced in Taiwan. Hilarious. You can't put it all on them. Look at this defeated. This dude is a world-class moron. Absolutely. Wow. My final thoughts of the night are this. If we don't all unite as a country under the Canadian flag, we're toast. If we start putting pride flags, countries' flags, union flags all over the place, there's nothing that actually brings us together. If we're going to heal this country, we need to unify under the Canadian flag, the most inclusive flag of them all that belongs to every single Canadian. All right, family, that's going to be a wrap here, but tell me in the comments down below, when it comes to Justin Trudeau, would you rather see him resign due to this mounting pressure from the Liberals, or would you rather see him go to the next election and face the Canadian electorate? Tell me in the comments down below. All right, guys, if you want to support this channel, you already know how to do it. Like, share, comment, subscribe, buy a $5 Canadian membership. My name is the Pleb, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.